Hi everybody, my name is Christie Kearney and this is my husband Liam Kearney. We are based here on the Fraser Coast of Queensland and tonight we are here to share our real health journey with you all. So we appreciate everyone getting up very early or staying up late perhaps to hear from my lovely husband and myself. Over this last 12 months we have needed to go searching for a few answers. Answers, some that we didn't even know we needed and others we knew we did. And we're very pleased to say that many of those answers have been answered. And tonight, instead of me sharing my version of events with what we have been through with my husband, he has so kindly offered to share his version of events that have happened over the last 12 months. So everybody, I will hand it over to my husband, Liam Kearney, and I will let him start his journey.
All right. Hi, everyone. I had about 12 months ago, a bit over 12 months ago now, I had a major breakdown. Was in a roof one day and just felt like I couldn't handle anything anymore. Ended up finding myself a toilet where I could at this site I was working at, and locked myself in there and just, I just lost it. I cried. Didn't know what was going on with myself. I had a huge breakdown, went and saw my doctor. I'd actually been and seen my doctor a couple of weeks before because I wasn't feeling right. I had no energy. My muscles were aching, and my doctor said to me, he said, "Look, I'll do some blood tests, but physically you're fine. There's another problem." And I didn't want to hear that, so I just said, "No. There's going to be something wrong. Run the blood test. We're gonna find something." Anyhow, he came back a couple of days later and said, "Look, your blood tests are fine." So I just stuck my head in the sand again and went on going as I did, doing what I do, working and all that sort of stuff. And then, that's when a couple of weeks after that, it fell in a. So I went back to my doctor and I said, "Okay, you were right." There was something else going on there. And that's when he diagnosed me with severe depression and major depressive disorder and severe anxiety. So my next step with that was to seek counselling. I started down a process of we tried something else before the medication, trying to do this what we thought was a natural way, which turned out not to be as natural and clean as we thought. So I ended up getting medicated and talking to a psychologist, which we started to try and work out what was actually triggering this, what made me have this breakdown. Turned out it was a little bit of life, just catching up, turning 40, wondering why I'm in the way that I am, and why everyone else out there may have been more successful, and just overthinking things as I do. Couple of bad choices with employment. I didn't think they were bad choices because it was back in the technical side of work, which I absolutely love doing. I had 17 years as a technician with Telstra before we moved to the Fraser Coast. So I went into security industry as a alarm and camera technician. People I was working for, I thought, this is really cool. I'm getting back into my technical side of things, which I really love doing, getting the brain working again. Couple of, just the way I was treated by employers. First one was always looking to try and accuse you of things and that sort of thing. Next one was like a kindergarten, basically, which, had my mind frazzled and split up going a million different directions. Just trying to work out, what was I doing wrong? Why was I being treated like this? Why couldn't I, make things happen like I was used to, and knowing that my mind works the way that I know I do things the best way possible. There's no other way to do them but my way. Which isn't just in my work way, it's back home here too. Certain dishwashers and stuff like that.
But that's not what they're here to hear about tonight, is it? No.
So with the psychologist putting all the pieces back together and helping me get all my pieces back together and work out what was wrong, what was triggering me. I actually started to get a bit of functioning back. This wasn't a quick process. This was like 2 or 3 months of intense, what am I trying?
Blanket fort?
Yeah, that one too. But 2 or 3 months of going weekly to see my counsellor, psychologist, just to actually, function again in a way where I could actually come out and talk to Christie, talk to the kids without, them not knowing who was actually going to come out. It was pretty crazy there for quite some time, and that person still hasn't gone yet. He's still hiding there, but we've locked him away pretty well. He does stick his head back out every now and then and gets cranky at not a real reason where he should get cranky, but he's under control. So I was just basically lost and didn't know what I was going to do with myself, and just had to try and work through with the people around me, the people who love me, counsellors, get everyone together to try and point me back in the right direction.
So in this photo here on the left, we actually made the decision together that the best way forward was, instead of forcing Liam to deal with it every single day and put himself through that, we actually made the decision for him to resign from his employment, and we sold our house to be able to allow him to be able to have all options available to him, to have every day available. And I understand that wouldn't be the option for everybody, but that was the choice that we made. And so that he could visit the gym, he could do the school runs, he could make his own schedule for the day. And whether it was a good, a bad, or an ugly day, he knew that there was requirements that he needed to,
just stuff I had to do, basically.
Just stuff that had to get done. Yeah. And some days that was all he managed to do, and then was in the blanket fort or the TV box for the rest of the day. And but soon, with the help of some people and professionals as well, we were able to start turning those can'ts into cans. And then the darkness started to become not so dark, and light started to come a lot more in. And at that time, we did discover a few things. One of them was this scary option here, if it lets me now go here. Did you know that many medications deplete or significantly reduce the absorption of essential vitamins, minerals, and nutrients from your body? So when we learnt that, we wanted to be sure that going under the doctor's orders or suggestions that Liam needed to be medicated to be able to function, we wanted to make sure that the gaps were filled. We wanted to make sure that he was not going to be depleted of anything, that every missing piece was covered in his body, and he was being given the optimals out there in life in every way, shape, or form, nutrition-wise, health-wise, gym-wise, medically, professionally-wise. So that leads us to my favourite slide, this one here.
All righty. So one of the first steps that I did take to getting back to where I am was exercise. Exercise helped a lot. Just getting out, even if it was just something as simple as going for a couple of kilometre walk in the morning after we drop the kids at school. We'd take the dogs. We'd just go for a lap of our local park, just to get everything going again. Just get the blood flowing, which then gets the mind going again and helps everything along the way. So yeah, that was step number one, and we found out that exercise was one thing that really helped me, because we had a little bit of a lapse earlier this year again, and we triggered it back to I started going to the gym, because I needed just a little bit more of a challenge than going for a walk. So I joined the local gym, and the owners gave me a program to do, which I was really getting into and really enjoying it. And then we had a break. We had a couple of weeks off doing things, and I started going back, not going anymore. And then I started going back into my hole, and talking with my psychologist again, she said, you need to get back to that gym. So it was like, it was me time basically, and it was just taking all the stresses away, because I was sitting there, I'm lifting weights, I'm hitting the treadmills, I'm running 10Ks on a treadmill, or on a spin bike. Really getting a good sweat up and getting stuck into it. And that got me going again. I came back again. So I really stuck at going to the gym, which then got me in the mindset that, hey, I'm back. I reckon I'm ready to get into the workforce again, which is that goofy looking guy with the floppy hat on.
Hanging off a roof, I might add.
I'm on a 2-story roof up there, but I've got my harness. My harness is on there. And I made we made the decision that I wasn't going to work for someone anymore. I started up my own business, and still on the technical side of things, I'm installing wireless and satellite NBN which is our national broadband network, which is getting our high-speed broadband all around Australia. So I'm back swinging off roofs, putting satellite dishes up, and getting people connected to the world with their internet again. And yeah, it's just something that I really love doing. Getting back into it, we're getting quality family time back again, because I'm in a better headspace. I'm doing good. We go out for dinner, and it used to be really crazy going out for dinner, because I'd be constantly worrying, what are the boys doing? All this noise. Noise was another big trigger for me too. So I could sit down and watch a speedway car go round and round a million miles an hour and it not worry me, but screams. Kids playing and they scream. That was a trigger for me. It was a pretty big one. But now I've learnt to, with different things that we've introduced into our life, I've got control over that, which has allowed us to, we go and watch the music, which we all love, going out for dinner and watching the live music. The kids love it. They get up, they dance, they have a great time. We go for walks, family walks. The kids protest a bit, but hey.
Not anymore.
They used to, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. So they jump on the bikes and follow us while we're walking the dogs. we're actually following them now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Almost needing to run after them.
Used to be looking behind us saying, come on, keep going. Oh, I don't want to. Next thing is like, bang, we're out of here. We'll meet you at the next crossroad.
I think the keynote there for everybody is that you've got to find your time. Everyone, that's something that I've always shared, but we've really, really learned that you need to find something that drives you, that really pushes your buttons. I know that exercise is one of them for Liam. Speedway, racing cars, all that kind of thing is another thing, but also music. But the big one, which was a surprise, not to me, but because he kept so quiet. Liam has always been one to put every single person before himself. And by doing that, he was depriving himself of the stimulants that he required. And of course, when children came along and when I came along, well, I should say that the other way around, right? When I came along and then when children came along, we were all a priority above himself. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. And then, of course, as a parent, we put ourselves last and put our children first. When we actually turned that and flipped that and actually made us first, it's setting the example for the kids, but also it's actually allowing my husband, has allowed my husband to sort of come back to us. He knows when he needs that time. So he might be now that he'll just go and tinker in the shed for a little bit, or that he'll just disappear for a little bit and you're like, okay, we know that he needs time. That's fine. He's seeing those, and you could probably explain how that sort of feels before it sort of gets too much and you just leg it for a little bit. But I know that working, he's got a purpose. He has got something that he prides himself in doing. And because he's able to do that himself and set his own times, and he knows where everything is, it's in his clean and order in his car. He doesn't have to worry about anybody else. That is definitely a lot of ticking boxes. But he also loves going out to the shooting range. And he competes doing that as well, and actually brought back medals last time that he was out there. So it is something that he enjoys doing. So sometimes, some people might go, oh, why does he have to do this or why does he have to do that? But the person that comes home is a better version of the person that left. So hopefully that can relate to a few people. And if there's anything you want to add to that one, definitely. But I'd love for you to share your journey through these photos here and how you've changed over that time.
Yeah, definitely. It's like I said, at the start we've got the family of us here, and you can see me there. I've got I put on half a smile, and the rest of the photos, it's like we've got me back at work again. We've got the next one along is Christie and I on our way to Las Vegas to meet quite a few of you guys who are on the call, or a couple of you guys actually. And then there's some of our time while we're over in Las Vegas. We've got so we've got the runway down to the airport to catch our first plane over there. We've got in one of the casinos there was gondolas. We took a ride around in the gondolas with another couple from over there who we met. That just had a fantastic night that night. The next one along with that goofy looking guy in the Batman shirt, that's inside a Vietnam era helicopter at a shooting range over in Las Vegas. Hence the nice big smile. That was in my happy place. And then, just down below us there, the guy without a shirt on and the tattoos hanging out, and the half and half a go at a beard, and his wonderful wife. That was at our casino by the pool having a couple of drinks, and that red slushy daiquiri. No. Okay. Red daiquiri was making us very happy.
I made a joke, and that laughter was captured on film, and that is my favourite photo of him in the last 12 months. That smile depicts everything that we have been through to get to where we are today. And if I could, pin that and put that on him any day that he needs it, I would be able to, I wish I could do that, because that right there literally had us like little teenagers laughing for a very long time. It was quite funny. But then another one of his passions.
Yeah, horse riding. It had been a while since I'd done horse riding as a kid when I was 7 or 8 years old. Lived out on a really remote little country town. There was only about 13 people in the town, and my best mate was on a property 5 k's out of town. So after school, we'd jump on the bikes, ride out, see him, and get the horses together and go riding. And then after we left that little town, I hadn't been on a horse until I met Christie. We went for a little holiday over to Vanuatu, and they put me on what would be a normal-sized horse to most people, but I could just about pedal it along the ground as well. So and that's when Christie said, "Oh, you can ride." And I went, I hadn't touched it I hadn't been on a horse for that long, but it's like riding a bike. Mm-hmm. It's always with you. And and then I in Los Angeles, got to ride this beautiful Mustang on a trail ride in the Hollywood Hills. And it's just another thing that I absolutely love doing. Horses are they're a very calming influence. If they have a way, if you can be stressing out and you've got to actually calm yourself down, otherwise the horse is going to pick up on it and you'll end up on your butt on the side of the road somewhere. So it's a forced way of calming you down, but it's also great therapy because they take their direction from you. So they're just a beautiful animal, and if we had enough room, we'd be around them all day.
Shh! Don't tell the children. Don't tell the children.
Yes.
And then you got some big shoes to fill there.
And Big Shoes, just a favourite movie of mine, Bubba Gump. And when we were over there, we found the end of Santa Monica Pier where he did his run to Forrest Gump, and they had a set of shoes sitting there, and you actually slide your feet inside these shoes and sit beside his case, and had to be done. It's just a great feel-good movie about one bloke getting out there and having a good red-hot go at life. Despite everything that was going, he had things going against him, but he just kept on going. That was him. And then, going hiking up in a gorge in it was like a canyon, 5 minutes drive from Hollywood, West Hollywood. This place you just wouldn't even know, with all the hustle and bustle of everything going on, you would not know this place was there. And we got to go hiking in this gorge on our second last day while we were over in America. Once again, it's another great release. You get the adrenaline going by climbing up in this gorge, and it just gets the heart rate going, gets the blood flowing. It's just a great way to spend time, and got to do it with wifey. And then the last one there was boot camp. Boot camp in Las Vegas. It was just an awesome day. That was getting ready for the day. I had absolutely no idea what was in store, and wow, was just an awesome day. Some great teamwork. There was some solo activities, but it was just a big eye opener for me that day as well. I really got out of my comfort zone by letting other people take control and blindfolding myself in one activity and forcing myself to listen to everyone else. It was just a real eye opener, but it was also a very, very, very big learning curve for me, and it helped out an awful lot. It was awesome. And I am me. When I first went into got diagnosed and fell in this big hole that I fell into, we were trying all sorts of different things, and I went to a Reiki session, And it for anyone who hasn't done it, it's calming. There's no real like, there's a bit of massage and that sort of thing, but it's all just comes through from the instructor, through all the energy that's around you and inside you. And one of the things that actually came for me was I am me. It actually came to me when I was in that meditative state, and I ended up finding that, and that's now what I look to every day. It's like, I am me. This is who I am, and every day I'll make myself a better version of me. And I actually got that tattooed on my inner bicep, so it's always with me. If ever I'm losing myself a bit, all I do is just look down at my arm, and it just reminds me and gets you through, and pushes you in the right direction again.
Yes. And I think one thing to add there is that when we're talking about that, having anxiety, having depression is so common. We're finding that every second person is dealing with one or both of those issues in the family dynamic. And the reason why we don't keep quiet about it is because I've learned through my life that you need to talk. You need to not bottle it up. It is not healthy to keep it all inside and to keep it there. You need to actually talk about it. So even in the times when Liam's not seeing a professional, he'll speak with me, or I'll encourage him to speak to one of his mates and things like that, because there's nothing wrong with you. There is nothing. It's not a punishment. It's nothing to be ashamed of. The more you talk about it, would you say that it helps the more you talk about it?
Absolutely. If you're just feeling in a down day, you just call someone up and say, "Hi, how you going?" It's and just share a bit of what's getting you down, or just talk about things in general. Doesn't even, like, I've had a good mate. I used to call him every couple of days. He's just recently left me and gone to New Zealand, moved home.
But that's
but
okay.
We still chat.
We can still talk.
We still
that's
chat,
right.
and we just wouldn't necessarily talk about anything in particular. Just life
stuff,
in general,
like blokes do, just stuff.
And that's enough to pick me back up again, and or come in and sit down beside Christie and say, "Hey, having a bit of a rough day."
Yeah. And I know that was one thing we haven't even thought about it, I don't think, in this entire year. One of the so-called bosses that he's had, one of the rules that he decided to make was that there was no personal phones allowed on your person while you're at work. And we've been together for not an extremely long time, but for 9 years. And in that time, there has not been a moment of the day that we have not been able to contact each other. And I do believe that would have been another moment for him, another tick in the box, so to speak, that would have just had that, that top ready to blow, that you take that lifeline away, that, he might just need to chat. Or, when we had the young kids, we're fortunate it wasn't when the kids were young, they're older now. So he just gets to hear the turmoil that they've been through when we get back. But I have to say, this, of course, is, as anyone that's experiencing this or is living with it now, or knows of someone, it is not just the person. It is the entire family that is affected. Our children, they didn't know what was going on. There were days when I didn't know what was going on, and I know Liam didn't know what was going on. But to speak about it and to be patient and to try not to understand it, but just to try and be there for each other. There were some really hard times, and for me to sort of be the glue in between everything was tough. I know that there's some people on this call that have had me in tears. They're trying to go to sleep and I'm trying to talk to them, and they were trying to keep their eyes open to be able to be there for me, because sometimes you do need that lifeline, and sometimes it's a person that's on the other side of the world that's in a completely different time zone, but it works. And that's one thing that we will always say. We don't say to be medicated or to be not be medicated, but don't be ashamed. Talk about it. Talk about it with a professional, because that's what they're good at. And they're also not emotionally attached. That was the biggest thing. And we actually were encouraged to attend the counselling sessions and the psychologist sessions together, so that not only the psychologist could get both sides of the story, so to speak, but they could also see what both dynamics were like. Were they actually getting any help from the other side of the family, or was it all just on Liam? So over the year, we've built a relationship and a friendship with the psychologist. So, to the point where we know her by first name and things like that, and not saying that would be happening, and we are not going off topic, but dragging it out a little bit, but just that thought just came into my mind, and I just wanted to share that because it does affect everybody. And there have been some tough times where, we weren't each other's favourite person, but we've gotten through that. And over that, I've got my husband back, and I recognise the person that's in that occupies this home with me more and more each day. And this may or may not be the therapies, or this may or may not be the answers for you, but I'm sure that some of them will help a hell of a lot more than what I know some are or aren't doing that may or may not watch this. But the big thing is, as we said, is to talk about it. Exercise was definitely one thing that you ticked highly. Keep the lines of communication with the family open. If you do require to be medicated, there is nothing wrong with that. But if you are being medicated, be sure that you are not missing those gaps that the nutrients that are being depleted from your body from being on those medications will do. And to give your body in every other avenue everything that it needs and more to be able to balance itself back out, to be able to do so much more. So there'll be a bit more of information getting through into the next few slides. But we do have nutritional supplements that my husband takes every single day that cover those gaps, that help with, instead of, I think you've described it as, instead of being on a roller coaster, it's like he's on cruise control through the day. So that is with some of the elements that we've discovered over the year. We've tried a few things, we've tried other things. And as Liam did mention, we were trying other health products that we thought were good, but we've later found out we can't prove that it just ticked a lot of boxes. We can't prove that they were the tip of the iceberg that tipped both of us over the edge, but both of us have had health issues over this last year, and we feel that some of that had answers when we found that information out. So any questions that you do have, anything that you want Liam or myself to answer on this topic, feel free to reach out to the person that has either invited you tonight or sent you the recording, and both of us are happy to answer any questions that you have. This may or may not be the answers that you're looking for, but trust me, there's more to come. This is just one topic that we're talking about tonight. So on to the next slide. Thank you, my darling.
That's all right.
The next slide, you may or may not recognize this person because they're all me. And there were times when I've looked at some of these photos and I've not recognized this person. And it seemed that there was a missing piece to the puzzle. And this person over here, I was supposedly meant to be the happiest that I would ever be. We were newly married. We had 2 beautiful children. But I was not well. I was in pain every single day, discomfort. My moods were not nice. I was not a morning person. I was always tired, really sharp to react to a lot of things. Would go from 0 to 1,000 in reactions, just too quick. And having young children was really hard for many reasons, not only because they were young children, but my energy levels, my temper, my many things. But to put it, I suppose, nicely, if I can, it was, if you've ever experienced food poisoning, before anything happens, before it actually releases from the body, how you actually feel with those knots and those cramping, and then, you know, anyone that gets in your way is getting pushed out of the way to get to the bathroom. That was almost a daily occurrence for me for nearly 20 years. And you name it, I have had multiple surgeries, some exploratory, some not, some removing parts of my body, leaving pretty cool scars, leaving my worried husband waiting in the waiting room, being told that it would only take this long, and it took extra. And he's like, where's my wife? You know, you said she'd only be half an hour and she's still in there. And every single one of them, if I look back and I sit back and I think about all of the specialists, holistic doctors, naturopaths, specialists in all different parts of my body, not one of them talked about anything other than never specifically asked what food I ate. It was, do you eat well and do you exercise? That was basically the generic questions. And then, of course, some of the symptoms and things like that. Not one of them ever suggested or had asked if I'd ever done a detox. Not one of them had ever suggested or asked certain ingredients that I may or may not have been using. Not in any of those years and any of those doctor's appointments did any single one of them narrow it down to three options or three possibilities until the last 2 years, when a doctor who's both of our doctors now, our family doctor, who's also become a friend, who has been there every step of the way through all of this for both of us. And from natural products that I was taking, I was almost hospitalized and woke up one morning and literally it looked like I was due to give birth. My stomach was inflamed and enlarged and swollen and angry and so uncomfortable. I was like, oh my God, what has happened? And went to the doctors. They ran some tests and he says, well, you've got one of three things. You've either got Crohn's, diverticulitis, or IBS, or maybe chronic IBS. He goes, out of all three of those, if you have to have any of them, IBS would be the one. I'm like, okay. And I was relieved. And he's like, not many people are relieved when I say that kind of thing. And I said, out of 20 years, no one had ever potentially, not necessarily labeled is not what I want to say, but it had given me a potential answer. And I'm like, oh, yes. So I was diagnosed when the test came back as chronic IBS. And once the inflammation went down, by chance meeting through social media, my husband and I were introduced to an amazing group of people with amazing knowledge and some amazing scientific studies that were done. And some information was shared with us that went through this journey that you see here in front of you. That I went from this tired and exhausted and unhappy and uncomfortable person each and every day to a bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and standing out from the crowd with the bright lipstick on and the bright clothes and the bright personality to go with it. I was able to shine my inner self on the outer self again. Or maybe I don't think again, I'd never been able to. Never really knew who that person was. So look out. She's out there and she's never getting put away now. And then this third one, that is what I look like when I wake up. Teach. So there's some inspiration for you. Just put a hat on and you too can look like that when you wake up. But these photos here, this is my natural curly hair. My hair my curl had gone from my hair through all of these medications that I'd had over the years, through all of these studies and you know, do's and don'ts, and let's try this and let's try that if this works and that doesn't work. And I have tried, you name it, I've tried so many things. And one of the nasty side effects that out of everything that I had was that the weight just liked to stay there. It didn't like to budge. And what we discovered is that now with all of the medications that I've been on over the years, all of the depletions in nutrients that my body has been not having for nearly 20 years. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Now that I know what I know, I apologize to my body every single day and treat it with love and kindness and respect and listen to my body. And it tells me if I've overdone it, underdone it, need more or need less. And you can see that in these photos, that I have found the missing piece to the puzzle. And it may be, you may know what it is, or you might not know what the missing piece to the puzzle is. This was really a mind-blowing, mind-snapping discovery. Did you know that many ingredients that are used in so-called nutritional products can in fact make you sick? And that is actually what was happening. We were using products that were called all natural, that had, you name it, things that you really shouldn't be putting on your body or in your body. We were using on a daily basis. And some of the side effects were exactly what I was experiencing every single day. And so we put it all in a box. Probably should have done a burning of it in the backyard or something, but we didn't. Or target shooting, yes. Liam could have done target shooting with it. Good thinking there. But what we found is when we actually looked at this information that was shared with us, from Liam's point of view, we looked at it, and then we looked at it from my point of view, and there were so many answers within this information. These ingredients, when you remove them from the body, I started actually feeling better. The fog started to lift. I didn't feel so blur. I didn't feel so lethargic and can't even think of the word, which is very hard for me to be lost for words, isn't it, darling? No, but it was just the clearness, the clouds were lifting and the fog was going, and I just started feeling and thinking clearer and clearer as the days went on. And here's a little journey. Now, the photos are not the best, okay? But my main area that I needed to work on, or that really needed the help, was my gut. And so in these photos, as I said, I really should have cleaned the mirror. But if we can look past that, because this mirror does live in our garage, but if we can work past that and actually see these photos, I think most of you have actually received in your inbox, because never in my adult life have I actually had indents, not outdents, in my stomach area. And in the first photo, that's the smoothest that the curves on my body have ever been. And then the pink hat, you can actually see there, depending on whether you can see it in your photo or not. But you can start seeing a little bit of an indent. And then the photos next to it, you can see the comparison of the less swelling, the reduction of the swelling in my body. And I did actually take a photo today. Not the right time of the day, as my darling husband told me. But as you can see, check out that indent, everyone. There are indents either side of my body now. And it's because of all the swelling that is no longer there. My organs, internal organs, my digestion and everything is not inflamed and angry every single day. And I'm very excited about that. And these answers have been shared with us, that I take some nutritional supplements to try and repair the 20 years of lack of those nutrients in my body. And I'm very pleased to say that I'm ticking all the boxes. That I was actually tested the other day, and I actually got 100% on all the tests in regards to filling those nutrients back into my body, and that my body has started to heal itself and starting to repair. And I jump out of bed every morning now. I'm actually a morning person now. We never thought that would happen. So it's very good for me, and of course it's very good for my husband, but also for our children.
They're morning people.
Because they're morning people. What child is not a morning person at 5 years of age and 7 years of age, right? 5:30 morning people. So I jump out of bed with them. I am there in the mornings with them. You know, we have morning songs, we dance, we create our creations in the morning in the kitchen. And it's just amazing. So many answers have been many answers have been found, and many changes have been made in our household over the year. And this brings us to our next slide. Our two beautiful creations that we have made together, and I think we did a pretty good job with those two creations.
Yeah, they go all right, these two.
So Lincoln is 7 and Spencer is 5. Previous to this year, sleeping was an issue. Sleeping through the night was an issue for both of them. Getting up ridiculously early and not being able to get back to sleep, or just taking so long to go to sleep at night. And the emotional breakdowns, the meltdowns were just a lot. And they were having naps every single day, even until, last year. They still do now, but very few do they need these days. But they were always, if we ever asked them to do something, especially sports-wise or anything that involved energy, we would be, as Liam described earlier, we would be the one setting the pace and they would be the ones dragging behind. Oh, I'm tired. I don't want to do that anymore. Do I have to? Like, you'd really have to negotiate to get out of the house and do something. And this whole year, we actually really enjoyed going through these photos and finding them, because this has just been in 1 year. Both of them absolutely love and kick butt on the soccer field, that they really enjoy doing it. They love their bikes. They love their sports. They love the water. Lincoln loves reading to his younger brother. They went on their first holiday together that they can remember on a plane. Lincoln loves running. He was doing park run with me in the off season from soccer, and swimming lessons every single week. They're both there in that Zorb ball, which was just hilarious. If I could have shared the video with you, it was so funny. I actually had tears rolling down my eyes because of the commentary. These two, it was just like a bouncing ball. They were just flying everywhere. But going water skiing, going on water world equipment, swinging off, trees and things, dancing in front of people here, there, and everywhere. There was just so many things that happened, Spencer with the soccer ball, Lincoln with his dance moves and things like that. This entire year, they have changed into even more beautiful young men than we ever thought possible. And the choices and the decisions that they've started to make as they grow, and we are, teaching them and sharing with them to be independent people, to make their own decisions, to listen to their own bodies. And just with some changes that we've made, not only with us, but with our two children as well, there is very few meltdowns. Their energy is through the roof, not to the point where it's unhandled, but they sleep like babies at night. They go to bed, we don't hear from them again. They wake up in the morning bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and they keep going all day long. But the food choices that they're making is, every now and again we'll both go,
he just went to the fridge and got a carrot.
Or they went to a barbecue, right? I think you guys had barbecues in the States too, right? So there was meat on the barbecue and you could have a salad, and, Lincoln, who's 7, said to Liam.
Yeah, he said, I won't have a sausage today. I'll just have a salad sandwich, thanks. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll run with that.
So he'd go and make that. And I'm actually going to be sharing some of their favourite recipes in a minute. So I know we've gone a little bit in length in time, but who would have thought that someone would actually possibly speak more than me? Hey? But it was an important journey to share. So I thank you for sticking with us. So I'm going to the next slide now, and this would be in every household. This would be something that would be apparent in every household. Did you know that certain ingredients that are found in so many products in and around the home that when they are actually being created, they use masks and gloves, yet we're expected to put them on ours and our children's bodies. Not to mention the other side effects that those so-called ingredients that are manufactured and bottled and sold to us can actually have. And I truly believe that, I know that some of the side effects are behavioral, emotional, disruptors. And with removing them from our home, our whole family is reduced their toxic load. Our entire family has minimal toxins pretty much from the environment only that we receive in our bodies every single day. We drink the cleanest water possible that we can have. Our medicine cabinet is now 4 bottles of oils. We all use the same clean toothpaste, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, and skincare. He may or may not have used it a few times, but we don't need to talk about that. So to me, this is actually my exciting part. And I was actually able to share these. Who?
He's good.
Yes.
This is gold.
So this one here, if you are a coffee drinker, if you are an energy drink drinker, if you are a soft drink drinker, this bad boy here, I highly suggest. It comes with triple thumbs up from my husband. It is a toxin-free energy drink. It is a glass of water, 2 scoops of Beauty Boost, which is one of the ranges that we have, that we use, and it's orange flavored, and 2 to 4 Rejuvenex with 2 to 4 ice cubes. And when you actually put it in the bullet, it actually looks white, which is quite freaky. But it tastes beautiful, and it gives you that all-day energy. So a highly recommended replacement for many things. And guess what? No heart palpitations, no anything that's going to hurt your organs and things like that, which is just beautiful.
No
and if
sugar, no caffeine, just
goodness. So if you do want that recipe and you don't have it, let us know. This one here, oh my God, almond milk. Where have you been all my life? I was introduced to almond milk only a few months ago, which is very crazy, right? And our children absolutely love creating in the kitchen these days. And we actually make our own almond milk. So there's a description there that I can share with you, not a problem. But the reason we make it ourselves, 1, because we enjoy it, but 2, when we actually looked at the ingredients on the back of the almond milk that you can buy in the supermarkets, it's got numbers. Numbers are a no-no. Numbers mean that there's chemicals. It's not good for you. Like, really not good for you. So we make our own, and this is actually Spencer's favorite smoothie that he has in the morning. So we have 1 cup of almond milk or coconut water, 1 cup of berries, including strawberries and blueberries, 2 scoops of Pure Nourish, 1 scoop of Power Boost, 1 scoop of Beauty Boost. Put it all in the blender, 1 glass for an adult and half a glass for a child. And I'm not sure if Liam wants to share what he thinks of this one, but to thicken it, I actually enjoy adding an avocado, and Spencer loves blueberries and avocado. And what are your thoughts on that mixture?
no comment.
Not a fan on this one. Okay. So now we've got the juices in the house. Now, my children actually get up and start making these themselves these days at 5 and 7. And I just absolutely love that. So, Al, I actually saw your facial expression then. That was classic. Liam's green juice, he creates them and actually takes them to work. So he actually sips on them throughout the day. And that keeps the cough at bay. It
just keeps me going.
It just keeps you going. You enjoy it.
Yeah. I know that I'm going to get everything in me if I can't find somewhere to have lunch, or if I'm just on the go all the time. While I'm between jobs, I can just sit there and sip on this. And yeah, I'm not feeling hungry when I get home or anything like that. So I know I'm getting what I need basically, without sitting there and having a sandwich or anything like that.
And Liam, so Liam makes these almost every morning to take with him, or the night before. And of course, Lincoln has been seeing that and hearing it and watching it. And so he started to experiment. And I asked him what was his favorite. And this was the recipe. He goes to the fridge, not only knows what all of them are. I don't know many kids that if you held up a kale that they'd know what it is.
Or if there wasn't kale in the fridge, they'd get upset like you did the other day.
Yes, because
I used the last of it.
what 7-year-old would do that? You know, meanwhile we're like, you know, so proud of him. But it is an acquired taste. If you've had kale, it is an acquired taste. So he has that with celery, carrots, and apple and pineapple, and absolutely loves it. Now here in Australia, when they go to school, they have a morning tea break, which is a fruit break. So they're encouraged to bring a fruit or vegetable to eat at that time. And Lincoln came to me one morning and says, "Oh, instead of a piece of fruit, Mum, can I actually take a juice?" Of course you can. So majority of the time these days, he actually creates a juice in the morning. We'll taste test it, see if it needs something else, and we'll actually package that up and send that to school with him. So proud right there. And then if that isn't enough, we're getting to the good stuff. Hang on. Egg muffins. I don't know what your kids are like. These are dairy-free, cheese-free. Sorry, dairy-free and cheese, that's the same thing. What I meant to say was there is no egg there. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh.
Start again.
There is no milk and there is no cheese in these egg cups. Literally egg and vegetables. And I checked with my nutritionist that may or may not be on the call that two per child serving and 4 per adult serving. They are great for breakfast on the go, for the lunchbox, or an afternoon snack. Now, whatever vegetables you want to put in there, they are going to be able to see them. So depending on whether they're sensory or texture orientated, whoever's sending messages, someone else is going to need to reply because I can't look at that as well as everything here on here. So Tash, can you see what that is, please? So this is a recipe that's got the nutritionist approved, and Spencer loves them. Link's not a fan of eggs, so that's good, but he's got the juices, so I'm not complaining there. Muffins. Now, here's a funny story, okay? The muffin mix that we were using is not nutrition approved. We discovered that when we were talking to Dina the other night, and she went, "Let's have a look at an alternative, shall we?" So we have not made this recipe, but the 2 photographs that you've got there was just a basic muffin mix that we used from the supermarket that's got numbers in it, and it's got a few other things that shouldn't be using, so we will no longer be using them. Some reason I'd not looked at the ingredients, or maybe someone had snuck them into the shopping cart. Anyway, pretty much just added pineapple or banana to these. Oh my gosh, we can't keep them in the house. They don't last. If I do 2 batches, they do not last a week. So it's just crazy. So these again are great for the lunchbox, great for morning or afternoon tea snacks. Now this one, chocolate mousse, everybody. Now, as you can see by the photograph, didn't blend it very well, but that didn't matter to my 5-year-old. Yes, my 5-year-old. I actually had to fight to taste test those 2. They were my experiment, but they are chocolate mousses without the naughty. And the description's there, and if you wanted it instead of a mousse, if you wanted it like a sauce, you just add a little bit more water. But it's actually not got sugar in it. Excuse me, fan's tickling my throat. But it's just a banana or avocado is the base, and it's just amazing. So these are all children approved in our house. Our 5-year-old and our 7-year-old absolutely love every single one of these. That is all that we have to share. Thank you so much for every single one of you to come on board. Al, I appreciate your eyes are still open. Everybody else that is needing to get somewhere and that is here, I'm just going to stop sharing for a minute just because I want to see your lovely faces. Thank you so much to all of you for getting up early or staying up late and hearing our journey. I'm going to stop recording now, but if you do have any questions, we are going to open it up for questions before Liam goes to bed.